onto that thing about Ruud van Nistelrooy and just who you lot want to see. I'm interested to hear, like, because I'm happy for the football to move forward, right? I want to see now, like, a Tuchel at Man United, big manager, big, like, I need to see something along those lines. I'm ready for that now. You know, I know we couldn't get him in the summer. I don't know what happened, but if, let's say they did it, you know, if they just, Ineos said, you know, we've done their internal review and Tuchel was there, it would look better than this. It'd look better than what we are now.
Well, Tuchel turned us down, didn't he? That was the report. He didn't want to come to United. Otherwise, we wouldn't have Ten Hag right now. So the reports in Germany were that Tuchel wasn't happy to work under the new structure, which was the only downside to it. So that's a problem. Ineos having to change their whole sort of approach.
Sometimes that happens, though, isn't it? Sometimes it goes, listen, I know we spoke a few months ago. You wanted assurances of X, Y, Z. Well, I tell you what, let's make a compromise on this.
He's got leverage now, doesn't he?
He's got leverage now, exactly. Yeah. It was the same thing that happened with Conte and Spurs. Like, yes, it ended shit, but what I'm saying is I remember they went in for him first in that summer, and it would look like he was nailed on, and then it collapsed, and he didn't get assurances of the transfer, this and whatever. Then they were shit, and they went, Conte, about coming in, mate. We give you what you want, mate. Fucking, we'll do it. Like, whatever. Do you know what I mean? So I just think they just need to show some muscle. They need to show some needle now because we are literally hanging on. We're hanging on for dear life, for nothing. We're already dead.
If you look at what Tuchel was dealing with in the clubs he was at, I mean, Chelsea, do we even need to go there? Like, Leonardo had a serious ego trip with him at PSG. Like, all he said was he didn't like the players running their contracts down and we weren't reinvesting money back in and strengthening the squad. He said it publicly, and that was the end of that for Tuchel at PSG. But let's not, he's talking closer than anyone to winning that Champions League. Anyone at PSG as a manager. He was one Manuel Neuer mistake away from winning the Champions League this season. Let's not forget that at the Bernabeu. And I think they would have beat Dortmund in the final by him. So we could be looking at a multi-winning Champions League manager. There's not many that get as far as he has got, let alone win the bleeding thing. And yeah, Bayern Munich are doing better now under company. Something was wrong fundamentally. When so many managers turn down the Bayern Munich job, you know that the hierarchy has got issues. I mean, Nagelsmann turned them back down again. They never should have sacked him in the first place, but you can see where he's worked. Can Ineos make something happen or make it look appetizing? I mean, what manager won't want to work when you're getting spent over 200 million every bleeding summer on in transfers? There's got to be a way to make it happen, but power thing, maybe something like that with Tuchel. Something clearly didn't fit with him, and I think the only reason Ten Hag is here still is because he's on his old contract that Ineos haven't given him.
Yeah. I haven't changed it. Mason says City went from Mancini to Pellegrini to Pep, and there's these soft fans getting their knickers in a twist, thinking anyone can be Sir Alex. And there was another super chat here. Let me grab that from Hayata saying Tuchel, come on, guys. Alice, what are you saying to, like, a lot of people are against Tuchel? I've seen that in the community. I've seen that online. They're saying absolutely not. Adam just talking about some of the things he's done and why he would be a good candidate. What say you?
I think, because you've got to look at what's realistic, I think Tuchel is definitely one of the best options right now. Like, I think Xabi Alonso, fantastic. Is he going to come to United and just leave what he's doing at Leverkusen? Absolutely not. Hoeneß, I don't know a lot about him, but from what I've seen of Stuttgart, very good manager, doesn't seem interested in leaving his club. So a lot of the top candidates have either been picked up by other clubs, like obviously Flick's gone to Barcelona, hasn't he? He's doing a good job. So you have to look at what's available. And I look at sort of Chelsea and Lampard, and then how Tuchel came in, won Chelsea the Champions League and got them playing and adapted. And I think maybe where United's at, someone with a bit of experience like Tuchel could be one of the best options. Like, I have concerns around Tuchel, particularly like long term. I see, like, if McKenna can do something at Ipswich this season, if you look at the profiles United have, I can see Ineos wanting more of a manager like McKenna or Xabi Alonso, or Xabi Alonso's obviously done a lot more than a Tuchel in terms of like a long-term Ineos project. But I think with Tuchel, he's played 3 at the back, he's played 4 at the back, he's adapted to the club that he's at. I think, a lot of the profiles in the Man United squad could work with Thomas Tuchel. If he can, he might even get Mount playing more than 2 games in a row. You never know, because he did quite well under him at Chelsea. But I think with Thomas Tuchel, he I think has the best win percentage of any league manager. He won all the trophies he could have won in a season at PSG, bar the Champions League. And when PSG played Bayern Munich in the Champions League under Tuchel, I thought PSG were the better team. As Adam mentioned earlier, I think their Neuer mistake from making the final again last year under Tuchel. He won it with Chelsea beating Real Madrid and beating Man City to win it with a Chelsea squad, which weren't that great, you know. I think he's a good manager. I think of any Dortmund manager that's been there over a season, he's got the highest win percentage of them. As Adam mentioned, the issues at Bayern Munich internally, having to work with a difficult board. And to be honest, even if Bayern Munich were at their very best, Leverkusen still would have won the league title because they were unbeatable that season as well. So I think when you look at Tuchel, there's definitely a few red flags in terms of long-term, you know, falling out with players. There's some profiles in the United squad that I don't know how they get on with Tuchel, and you know, I wouldn't say he doesn't favour the youth, but you know, academy isn't something that he utilises as much as Ten Hag. But I think right now most United fans would be saying, is this guy going to come in and are we going to see an improvement under Tuchel? I think yes, because that's what he did at Chelsea under Lampard. Like, I think Thomas Frank and Thomas Tuchel are the two most likely options, because I think we could get Thomas Frank out of Brentford if we really wanted him, that could come into United and get something happening. But out of Thomas Frank and Thomas Tuchel, I think Thomas Tuchel's the guy that you think that's a much bigger name, much more experienced name. He's won Champions Leagues. Do United want to take another risk after Ten Hag? Do United want to go and get someone in that's actually succeeded to an extent, bar Bayern Munich? But I wouldn't say it was a disaster. They've still looked a lot better than we do now. I think realistically now, Tuchel's probably the best that we can do. But there's definitely managers that if we could get to the summer, which I don't think we can with the way it's going, I would prefer to Tuchel.
Yeah, I definitely can't see us get into that. I'll get a couple of super chats out before I hand back to the floor. Say, come in after this.
This is Manchester United. We have to understand that sometimes the players and just what can happen. You can easily get rattled by the media. And Ten Hag was okay before meeting this media. He started talking about Harry Potter. He started talking about all this mad stuff that he probably would never say. But it's driven him here. So I'm just saying we need a strong person to be at the helm. We need that.
I think that's a good point, KG, about managing the media, actually, because I've seen people talk about Thomas Frank. I got big reservations about that, to be honest with you. I know that he's quite charismatic guy and he does speak quite well, but I've also seen Thomas Frank get really rattled after a Man United game. It was a couple of seasons ago where we beat him at home, and he was saying about how terrible Manchester United were, and I just don't know how much that would jive. I think Thomas Tuchel maybe isn't the most charismatic guy, you know, in terms of how he talks. But I kind of agree with what
talks really well though.
It might be a bit sort of a Tuchel, is that it's not long term, but it might be better for short term. You know what I mean? It might just be better for, even if it was for a few seasons and then they do find the long term guy. It does. The only where I would have, and Adam did allude to this earlier on, is the fact that if there were disagreements about what Tuchel was kind of looking for in the summer, unless that is ironed out, then he shouldn't come in, because obviously he does have the history of things have fallen apart for whatever reason, but he's already proven then that he's not going to take shit above him. And if he's not happy with what he's sort of signing up for going in, then it won't work out. But I'm not opposed to him as well. I think that this idea that he plays really negative football or he only plays a back three is just not true. And his record at Chelsea, yes, towards the end of his last season, didn't work out that well. It was only a few games into that season, in fairness. But his full season, which was one, I think he only had one full season at the club. They finished third. I think they had a really good goal difference. They played attacking football and scored a lot of goals. Why not?
On Tuchel, actually, in terms of don't worry about him handling the media.
Yeah.
In terms of all the press conferences I've been to, he has been the best by a country mile. There was one, and there's an article in the MEN today from Ty Marshall, and I was at the same press conference, so I know it firsthand. Flex, you've alluded to this as well before with Tuchel, how he commands the room. And Ty Marshall was talking about how Tuchel answered questions for Ten Hag going off what was asked to a Ten Hag press conference and the problems that he's having. Tuchel actually answered the United question in his own press conference for Bayern Munich better than what Ten Hag did to the British media. He explained what United needed to do and what United were all about better than what Ten Hag did. And this is Ten Hag who invites the Dutch media into a UEFA Europa League game, knows that there's a time limit on the press conference, turns in 5 minutes late, then lets the Dutch media have all their questions first, which they all got free of. And Flex, you know that is a no-go with United press conferences. They all got 3 questions. They had to all be translated. And then the British media got about 5 minutes of the press conference. He he tries to avoid it like the plague. He is useless.
I did really pick up that same presser, Adam. I was in that one with the Tuchel one. And it was when he was with Musiala in it. And you know, I was really impressed with the way Musiala spoke just in general. But then when I asked Thomas Tuchel something, I can't remember what I asked him. But I remember him like when he was responding to me, and I was listening. You know, you just look forward. I'm just looking at him going, When he finished, I swear to you, I think I turned to Josh. I went, so he's fucking good, isn't it? Like the way he just handled everything. Like I left that press conference saying that, and it was the same over in Germany as well. The same thing, because we asked Onana a question there. I think he was in that presser, innit? And then again being in the Tuchel one, and he definitely can control the media. He speaks well. He speaks in depth. If you come for him, he's not afraid to give a bit back as well. And I just think, he definitely won't fail on that point of it.
And let's not forget, there was a period of time they wanted to keep him, by the way, towards their lead last season. There was the whole
and then he said no.
He might have said, he went, no, I don't want to stay anymore, you know, because you said that to me. So it's not as if he was kicked out of Bayern by any stretch.
And the fans didn't want him to go.
Exactly.